Hey guys, I'm Saurav. Welcome to the channel. This is the second part of the Instagram photo review. In this video, I will analyze your images and give you tips so that you could improve your photography. Don't worry if your photo is not selected because you will still get to learn a lot of things. And in future, you can participate too. Basically, follow me on Instagram. I will upload the story for the next part. You can submit your photos and then I'll select the best images out of them. Before I start reviewing the images, one thing I want to make clear is photography is a subjective thing, right? What I say, you might agree or disagree, and that's completely fine. The thing is, we are going to have a very good discussion here, right? I am excited. Hope you're too. Without wasting any time, let's get started. So this is the first image and it is actually one of my favorite images, to be very honest. If I have to specify only one reason why I love this image, it has to be the light. The light is very dramatic and it adds to the mood, right from the foreground to the background. In the foreground, you have highlights and shadows, and then in the background, the mountains. As you can see, there's very good contrast between the brighter parts and the darker parts of the mountain. And there's a bit of fog and clouds in the midground, which actually separates the foreground and the background. The second thing I love about this image is actually the addition of the human figure. If you see, in the bottom rule left of thirds, there's a small human figure present. And in landscape photography, when you add a human figure, just because you know the size of an average human being, it helps you to understand the size of different subjects that's present in the image. Now, if I remove the human being, I have not done much, but as you can see now, the image doesn't look much interesting. So the addition of a human figure is something I loved about this image. Something that I don't like about this image, if you see on the extreme right and the extreme left, there's certain things which are a bit distracting. To avoid those, what I would have done is I would have actually zoomed in a bit and got a tighter composition. Or what I can also do is crop the image slightly from the left and right. But if you want everything, you can actually remove this in post-processing too. It's not very difficult. So this was the only thing that I found a bit distracting, but overall the image is amazing. It's very beautifully color graded. It's very beautifully post-processed. Often with such images, I have seen people over-processing the image and it just kills that natural feeling of that photo. But here the photo is not over-processed. It looks beautiful and I give it 5 stars. This is the next image and it is one of my favorite images. The reason I love this image is because these kind of things happen around us, but everyone doesn't click such images. A good photographer is always observing. So here the photographer has observed the shapes, the patterns, and has clicked the image wonderfully. The photo is in black and white and that actually improves the contrast between the darker and the brighter parts and adds to the minimal look of the image. I absolutely love the image. There's only one thing that I would have done differently if I had the time, is I would have waited for the person to come just a bit down and exactly at the left side of the middle window. Then it would have been perfect symmetry and a cherry on the cake. But still, observation skills, photography skills, editing skills on point, definitely 5 stars. Okay, so this is the next image, and why this image is so exciting is because the photographer has also sent me the BTS of this particular photo. It's a very nice product shot of the watch. The image has a very classic feel and the black and white actually adds to that. But if you see the behind the scenes, it's actually very simple. Only one source of light coming from the left. There's a perfume bottle in the background, and again it is kept at a distance intentionally because then you get this bokeh. The photographer here has used very limited resources. As you can see, it's a transparent glass table, and that is why the photographer has also managed to capture the reflection. The only problem I have with reflection is I don't find a reason to not capture the whole reflection. What I would have done is just went a bit backwards or positioned the camera a bit downwards and I've tried to capture the whole reflection. If I didn't like it, I could crop it later in post, but I would have actually captured the whole reflection. So overall, I love the image. Thanks to the photographer for including the BTS as well. I give this image 4 stars. Speaking of product photography and experimentation, we have another watch image and I love what the photographer has done here. First thing, amazing light painting. I don't know what the photographer has used here for light painting, and that is why I love the image. I actually thought a lot what the photographer could have used for this particular image, but I didn't come up with an answer. The light painting is seriously fantastic. If it would have been single color, it would not have looked so much interesting, but there's a combination of a cooler and warmer color that gives this beautiful contrast. There's also contrast between the subject and the background. As you can see, the subject is still, but the background is moving, right? There's a bit of motion, and that's why I love this image. There are two things that I would have done different. First is, if you see the bottom right part, it's a bit brighter and it's a bit distracting because it's not a part of the background as well and not subject as well. So I would have reduced the exposure of that particular part in post-processing. Second is, I would have placed the watch on a much better object so that it looks much more interesting. But apart from that, the execution is on point, and that is why I am giving this image 5 stars. This is the next image, and it's a very different image. It's a cityscape, it's a long exposure image. As you can see, there's a lot of light trails, and I really like the image. I really like how simple this image is, and at the same time how interesting this image is. The composition is very simple, but there are two things that is distracting. One is the light pole. Again, this is very bright and not helping the composition. And if you see on the extreme left, there's a billboard. I would have cropped that because there's nothing interesting in the extreme left. But I love the light trails because the light trails are not very overexposed. Especially with light trails, it can be very difficult. And there's also good contrast between the light trails of the left road and the right road, right? The left one is completely white, the right one has a lot of reds and yellows. I'm not sure why there's only half light trail in the middle track. I would have tried to get the whole light trail if that was possible. Overall, it's a very good cityscape. The buildings are not distorted, it's perfectly vertical, and I give this image 4 stars. So this is the next image, and this image is so cute. I have seen a lot of photos of cats, but this has to be one of the cutest images I've seen. This is a very unique perspective because the photographer is very close to the animal, and that can be actually very difficult, right? When you get close and they sense you, they will actually run away from you. So the photographer has done a wonderful job here. Composition wise, the image is on point. The cat is exactly at the center, and there are leading lines which is leading to the cat. The image is very nicely exposed. Again, the texture of the skin of the cat is very sharp, and this is captured with a mobile phone. And this is a very good example for those especially who captures a lot of photos with mobile phones. Even if you don't have a professional camera, but you understand the basics of photography, you understand composition, you understand framing, then you will be able to create good photos. I love the perspective, the sharpness, the lighting, everything about the image is good. Nothing much to complain about. I give this image 4 stars. So this is the next image, and wow, literally wow. The photographer has done a wonderful job. One thing that I absolutely love about this image is the sun star. I actually checked the EXIF of this image, and this image was shot at f22, and because of that smaller aperture, the photographer got such a beautiful sun star. It's not positioned exactly at the rule of thirds. The composition is slightly odd, but that's what makes it a lot more unique. The waterfall is placed exactly at the center. The dynamic range of the image is very good with good details in shadows and highlights. The image is very nicely processed. One thing I would have done is I would have cleaned the sticks in the foreground and made the foreground a bit more interesting. But other than that, I mean, the image is so great. I would love to have this image as my mobile wallpaper. Hats off to the photographer. This image definitely deserves 5 stars. This is the next image. I've seen such images on the internet and I've always wanted to capture one. The photographer has done an amazing job. The composition again is very simple, very minimal, and the steps is actually guiding my eyes exactly at the center. I would have loved if there was a small human figure present. I mean, I don't know if that was possible, but the composition is very simple. The colors are not very saturated. The exposure is very good. I believe it was a bit dark and it was shot at higher ISO, and that's why the noise, but that's totally fine. The shapes, the textures, the composition, colors are on point. I give this image 4 stars. Okay, so now for the image of the day, this is it. AKR shutters, you have done a terrific job in this image. The moment is captured perfectly. The photographer has used a faster shutter speed and has captured the moment incredibly well. The subject is in focus, the motion is frozen. I would have slightly used a faster shutter speed to freeze even this particular part of the image, but I think there was not enough available light and the image is actually shot at higher ISO. So I understand that part. The light falling on the subject is on point. The composition, especially with the human figure at the center and the animals to the left and right, is absolutely perfect. There's nothing that I don't love about this image. AKR shutters, again, congratulations man, you have done a wonderful job. And that's it about this video guys. It was a long video, even my throat is tired right now, and I guess it's better to end the video right now. I'll be doing more of this in future. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from this video, and this video will help you to improve your photography skills. If this video helped you, press the like button, press the subscribe button for more such content. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.